Good evening, witches, warlocks, sorcerers, adepts, friends, fans, family, and followers to Season 1, Episode 13, the finale of Cuniculum Obscuritatis, the Obscure Tunnels or Tunnels of Obscurity, brought to you by the Coterie of Samil, Arcane, Occult Order, and Celestial Oddities Radio. As always, I am your host, Frater Crow.
And I am your co-host, Natasha Michelle. Please make sure that you are following us on all the different streaming platforms so that you can stay in tune with all of the old episodes now, because we don't have anything else coming to you for some time. So if you've missed anything, now's the perfect time to go ahead and get caught up. Like, share, follow, do all the things to help move us up the rankings so that when we come back in Season 2, we will have more to share with all of you.
100% agree. If you are listening out there, the more you click the buttons, the more we see. And if you want to leave comments, wherever you're leaving comments from, we should see them. So we will post them up on the screen. We will read them out. We will answer your questions and have you be a part of the show, because that's what this show is for. So no matter where you're listening from, if you have a question, please don't be shy. You can drop us a comment, and we would be happy to answer it. Tonight is the finale, so it is a Q&A and a deep dive into whatever it is you guys want to talk about for the season finale. We do appreciate your support throughout this year, and we will be back for Season 2 in a handful of months. We've got some other shows to put out under Celestial Oddities. Once those seasons are done, we will return. So thank you. Go back and watch the episodes you've missed and get excited for what's to come for the future. Thank you.
Also, I will say that now is a great episode to drop any ideas, things that you want to see happen, episodes that you would love to hear, as long as we can fit them into what we're doing in the next season. We are more than open to hearing your thoughts on where you want to see the show go. And I can take notes so that neither one of us forget it, because we probably would.
Oh, we will. There's been several times that Dan and I, for Paranormal Guys, have been like, what is it you guys want to hear? we do most of them, but there's a handful we forget, and then we can't ever find the post, so then we have to make it again, and we get other ones. So I would say about 60% of them get aired into something, but 40.
I'm going to take notes.
So notes are good. It's a lot of content to keep up with, guys. And talking of which, be excited, because even though Cuniculum Obscuritatis is coming to Season 1 finale, we have some other shows getting ready to gear up. Our infamous Knights of the Nephilim kicks off at the very beginning of August. It runs from August the whole way to the end of February of next year, almost every single week. We have 21 guests, some of the biggest names in the occult and esoteric scene, from authors to tool makers, theologians, and practitioners. So if you are into the occult and the esoteric, that is the place to check out until we return next year for this very show as well. We will also... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say there are some names on there that I can promise you do not want to miss, because I personally am very excited for the guests this season.
It is exciting. It's really fun to talk to a lot of different great minds, see what they think, how they think, what caused them to get into this. It's a favorite for me. So we have a lot of new people on this year. We have a lot of return guests as well for some great convo. I'm really excited.
Absolutely.
We also have Paranormal Guys podcast, the show that we deep dive into subject matter of the paranormal and supernatural phenomena. We bring on guests and interview them that are, big names within the field. We deep dive into specific conversations of different happenings that have happened throughout history and just paranormal topics. And then we have our infamous call-in shows where we allow everyone out there listening to call in and tell us the stories of the unexplained that you've experienced. And we give our hypothesis of what might have happened and just talk about it. So if you're looking forward to that or Knights of the Nephilim, please make sure you check them out. A lot of work going into those, and they will all begin within the next 2 weeks. Other than that, if you missed the last episodes of these, please check them out. This is the end of the season, and we're ready to jump into some questions. So as always, let's start with the prayer of the Coterie of Samil. We'll do our tenets, and we'll get this show kicked off. And real quick, hi to everyone chiming in right now. I'll throw your comments up in just a minute. In the name of Samael, Lilith, and Cain, we call out to you, O Lord, Nakash Alak, our Savior and Father. Let us continue to be unbendable, unbreakable pillars of the eternal infernal black flame, soldiers and emissaries of the black light of divinity. You who is the true God existing in the void place of chaos before the creation of the cosmos, which gave form to force, bringing only suffering and death. Blanketed with the illusion of what the Claiborne call living, encased in their fragile flesh, falling victim to their own debased hungers. The cattle stand in their own prisons singing songs of freedom. The blind bastard sons and daughters bow to the blind bastard God. But let us never be mistaken for their ilk. Let us serve you diligently and with honor. Let our knees not falter, and allow our minds to remain sharp and clear for the battles and wars we shall wage in your name. Life after life we march to your drum, until we have won and all is returned to silence. We are the beacons of hope, the lighthouses of knowledge. No matter the darkness, our wisdom will shine, for we are the messengers and we are the crows. Our calls will be heard till the ending of time. We are the sons and daughters of darkness, and the Kashalaka is with us, and we shall never fear.
The following is the mission statement for the Coterie of Samil. To honor, praise, and uphold the work of our other god, the Nakashalaka, number 1. Number 2, to honor, praise, and know the Clephotic Elohim, working alongside them to gain gnosis and shape the currents of our own lives. Number 3, the intense and continuous study and practice of diabolism, necromancy, and left-hand path mysticism. Number 4, work completed both in and out of the temple, individually and as a cult, towards a return to Ein and spiritual immortality and nothingness. Number 5, to reside in a physical manifestation that while it may be incarnated in a prison, it is a prison crafted to our standards and desires. Number 6, to uphold the authority and integrity of one's own moral code while remaining a wolf in a world filled with sheep. Number 7, to openly shine and fan our own black flames, giving the opportunity and inspiration for those so inclined to recognize and feed their own. Number 8, to burn as torches in the darkness so that those worthy may be guided by them, finding their inner strength and embodying what it means to rise to their own power. Number 9, not to obtain or draw in followers, but to encourage mysticism, free thought, dedication, breaking of chains, and questioning everything, including us.
So there you have it, folks. That is the Coterie of Samil prayer and tenets. If they vibe with you, feel free to use them and follow them. If they do not, leave what doesn't suit you. Let's take a look at the comments. We have Trevor tuning in here saying, good evening. Good evening, Trevor. Stacy. Lexi saying, hi, guys. Hello, Lexi.
Trevor Alex.
Ashley giving a heart. Much love to you. And Brian saying, hi, all. What's up, Brian? All right, guys. So feel free to drop whatever questions it is that you would like to talk about, anything specific. It can really be whatever. And we'll go ahead and jump into it and talk about it and have a great episode.
Yeah, absolutely. As well as whatever it is that you might want to see coming in the future. I know that the direction of this season was very foundation based, like we've said. The foundation, trust us when we say, is a very important part of your practice, maybe one of the most important parts. So it's important to get that basis. And then next season is going to dive more into the actual practice steps, so to speak, if you would agree with that.
I would say like this season was gathering the materials. Next season's tempering. And then, if there's a third season to be, that would be battle. So like, next season, we've talked about these concepts. We're going to start putting them into play. What does that mean as far as like what exercises should you be doing every day? What should you, if you truly want to move beyond dabbler to proficient practitioner of magic, where do you need to do? We're going to give outlines of ways of obtaining that and start to talk about, like we said, conjuration of spirits, what that means, how it is compared to what you hear in a lot of cases, and the type of wild worlds that it can open for you.
Yeah. And like, I know this is beating a dead horse, but it is really, really important to be able to differentiate between what you hear and see online in 5-second video clips and what is actually happening in the ritual circle, in your temple, in the cemetery, in wherever you may happen to be. So it's important to go into it expecting nothing, but embrace everything, and also, you know, have that foundation so that you're prepared.
100%. It's essential, because if you are doing it truthfully and respectively, you know, and you're putting yourself out there, that's the big thing, is you have to put yourself out there. You start, you know, the big thing we've talked about, and we can just kind of kick the discussion off there and then wait till questions come in, is the moving from, you know, armchair magician, armchair practitioner, to an actual practitioner. When you go from the state of like, I need to just step into the circle, you know, the theme of the show, stepping into the circle. There's so many people, guys, that they are really having a hard time breaking that step. We get a lot of messages about that, and that's okay. But you have to. You just have to put yourself out there. Because reading every single method there is to magic is great from a learning standpoint, and you can adapt that into your magic. But also, there does have to be the point where you're like, I'm going to go get into the circle. And for a lot of people, that doesn't happen. It's like, well, I'm not ready yet. And then they read something else, and well, that's great, but I'm not ready yet. And it's like you never actually do any magic, and years go by. You're an occultist, sure, but you're not a practitioner. We need to like separate that line.
Yeah.
Where do you want to be? There's nothing wrong with being an academic. There's nothing wrong with writing books. There's nothing wrong with doing it even from a mental state, you know, of analyzing this information and releasing it that way. There's been great names in the occult who were never practitioners. They're theorists. But that can have its place in practice. But, you know, do you want to cross that chasm into practice? Do you want to be a practitioner or an academic?
Right. And I think that a lot of times, you know, when people are making that jump from the books to the actual, we'll say the candles, from the books to the candles, there's a place where you can almost read too much, and like that's not something that you're ever going to hear from us, is read too much, because the reading is ridiculous. But there's a place where like you can almost, so then you're psyching yourself out, right? Because you're like, oh shit, what did I hear, or what did I read in that one book, or what did I read in this book, or do you know what I mean? So it's like, then you're questioning yourself, you're double thinking, you're like, you know, and then that can cause problems. So
I mean, doubts being planted is the biggest thing. You start having doubts, then you don't want to do it because you're like, I'm dealing with something crazy. I don't want to go in there doubting myself and unsure of myself. Or you do go in and do it and you ignore that and you're doubting yourself, and things go really wrong. Because they can go wrong if you're not doubting yourself and you're doing really good. You know what I mean? Like, it can change at any moment. So
yeah,
if you are not prepared, I would suggest not stepping in. But you also have to tell yourself someday, you got to psych yourself up. Today is the day of the big game. I'm getting in there, coach. Put me in. You know what I mean? Like, there's a point where you just got to do it. Because that hesitancy and that nervousness, as long as you're not doubting yourself, you're just scared. That's okay.
Yeah.
Because it'll add to the exhilaration of the ritual. But if you were doubting yourself, it's a no-go.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I mean, thinking of my first ritual ever, it's like, it was excitement, right? I was pumped, I was excited, then it got real crazy real quick, and I'm like, holy shit, okay, I was wanting this, I guess, but I wasn't quite expecting it. I didn't know this would, you know, was going to go down the way it did. And even though it was a learning experience, I've been enthralled ever since.
Yeah. And like, I'm on a different, like, mine was not like yours, but it was wild for me because that was it. I hadn't read the books, right? I hadn't like done any study behind it really. And I just like saw, okay, take the candle, call the spirit, and was like, well, that's what I'm going to do. But then of course, what does that do? That opens a door to whatever might be hanging around. Like in my case, I believe that I got very lucky, and I do know who it was that showed up that night when I was 17 or whatever. And, you know, the candles blow out and the wind goes through the room and all the windows are shut, and I scared the shit out of myself. And I wouldn't call anything for 20 years after that, because I was like, damn, I don't know what I did, but I did something.
Right? It
So,
can
you
rattle
know,
you a little bit, right?
yeah, you have, and so my point with that is that then once you do go into, you know, calling spirits, once I eventually got back into that, into the invocation, it, that memory was forged like in my mind of like, I don't know, to have that hesitancy and that fear. But you work through it or you don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that's the thing is like anything hard in life. I mean, occultism and practice are going to be hard, guys, because it makes you face elements adverse to you and powerful that can cause a lot of issues, but also you have to deal with a lot of inner, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's a part of it. So you're facing these elements and this changing of your perspective, but you're also changing and dealing with things internally. And we're talking deep inside the psyche.
Yeah.
Uh, so any elements can affect the ritual. So when we say about being unsure of yourself, that's a big thing because it might stem from something deeper that can come out during ritual. And it doesn't come out how you think. I mean, it comes out as adding an element, it's like a frosting over the spirit you're working with, as we talked before. Any factor into your ritual, from how you prepared for it to how you consecrated the items to how you performed it to your confidence in it to the items and elements you used in it,
Mm-hmm.
all of that is going to change the outcome you get. It's like a puzzle. You choose how you paint it, and however you paint it, it comes to life, and that's going to be what you experience.
Yeah. And I think that, like, you know, a lot of things that I hear from people is those, like, those ingrained hooks, right? The Judeo-Christian, like, hooks that are stuck in there.
Yeah.
Um, and so then when they go into these more infernal, you know, left-hand path-based spirits, that hook that's still in there is telling you, well, you're doing something bad. Like, you're gonna burn. This spirit's gonna come up from the depths of hell and eat you, and like all this stuff. So then what do? Well, now you're creating an atmosphere that is what? Fear-based and, you know, judgment-based and all these things. And that, I can say, was something that with working with Lilith specifically, that was where I had to find my way through that. And I don't know if I've talked about it on one of our shows before, probably even when I was being interviewed or something. But that night, that one night, I remember calling her and hearing those beetles, those scarab beetles, were coming to get me. I was positive, and I, as mentor, you know, I called him in a panic. Said, "There's she's coming in a swarm of beetles," and he was like, "Well, then you stand up and you say thank you for coming, and if you're not going to do that, then you better stop fucking around with this."
Yep.
And then he hung up on me.
Yeah, back
So,
off. It has to be a real deal. Like that's the thing is whatever we face, we need to face it.
yeah.
Like it does get Hollywoodish. So that's one thing I do want to be clear is I laugh about people talking about how phantasmagorical things are in a lot of books and things. And it's not to say that they can't be, because they certainly can. But there's a different feel to a lot of the fantasy people writing compared to the almost fantasy you experience sometimes. Depending upon the practices you're using and the deeper levels you're going with spirits you're calling, it can get super batty. Like just the fuck out there. But you know that you got to depend on where you want to go with it. But it certainly comes from aspects of what you're facing when you go into it.
Absolutely. And that's definitely something that I'm sure we will discuss in length, you know, next season, because that's going to be a big part.
Yeah, I think thought forms,
So,
types, a lot of that, and how that plays into the whole process.
yeah.
Said love you guys, love you, Dan.
You, Daniel.
Ryan said hello. Oh, I threw that up a minute ago. Trevor had a question here, and I would love to jump into that because as that could just be a question for anyone, it is certainly one that's meaningful to me. If no questions yet, can you spend a few minutes talking about how Ozzy has influenced your life? And either one of us can go first.
Well, I'll go first because I feel like you are going to have more of an answer for that. Ozzy, I got to see Ozzy once in concert at Ozfest. The influence in my life would, I'd say, like around music, the performance, the art of him, the shock value that he would go for. You know, like he was I still love Marilyn Manson. He was doing it way before him, the shock rock value. But also, like, I remember watching, like, even, do you remember when the Osbournes was on that, like, reality show?
Like
And I just remember,
2.
yeah. And when I was in my car accident, I got Netflix, like, when they still delivered them in the mail, you know?
Yep.
Uh, yeah, I know. And so I had like season 1 like on DVD, and then like I would get Netflix like delivered. And so while I was in recovery on bed rest, I spent a lot of time with Ozzy, and he got me through that. Was part of that. So
I dig it. He for me it was complex because I remember being a little kid and always being attracted to music. My dad would play music, like any other music I heard, cool, didn't care so much, but my dad would play like Blue Oyster Cult and Alice Cooper and Ozzy and Black Sabbath and Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Voivod, all these bands that like from back then that were killer. But I just remember being a kid and certain things hit me as a kid. Like the music was so profound that it helped, I think, shape part of my life without realizing it. So like a song that I would mention is like the middle breakdown section of Don't Fear of the Reaper from Blue Oyster Cult. Is such an amazing part with headphones on as a kid that's like 7. And my dad would turn out all the lights and he'd put headphones on, and we have this big system. And he would play parts of songs. And I remember like My Mom Coming Home and No More Tears just being 2 phenomenal songs that blew my mind as a young child. And then I was a Ozzy fan ever since. And when I was 12, my dad surprised me. My mom and dad had got a divorce and didn't see my dad all the time. And he surprised me with 2001 Ozfest tickets. And I was 12 at the time. So I was like never went to a concert yet. So I'm like, my first experience of a concert was walking up over the hill at the Post Gazette. As soon as I come up over the hill, there was fucking ginormous pits going on, and people
back in the day when it was good.
And the crazy thing about it is, within the first 3 minutes of walking into the concert, we came up over the hill, and a girl was being escorted out by medics, and she was squirting blood everywhere and holding her head. She was fucked up. And it was like 3 minutes into the concert, and I'm like, oh shit. End up hearing that was back when they allowed cat bottles, like plastic for water. They allowed you to have them at Post Gazette. It was after that they stopped. One of the bands threw a water bottle out in the crowd, and it tanked her above it split her. And I think it was for Bury Your Dead or something like that was on whenever we came in. And I just remember it being the crazy experience. We went to 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I think that was it. I think we went to the first 5 years since we started. And it just was a great experience. He'll be missed. He made a lot of great music. He contributed a lot to art, and him along with the other like 7 people that are, really big that all passed away in this past like 2 weeks. You guys see it a lot.
Yeah. Said that about the bottle at the concert, and my brother was just here, and all I can think about is when I went to see ICP, and I was like determined to get a Faygo bottle that went in the crowd for my brother, because my brother was like a huge ICP fan, especially like when he was growing up, except he was like in like elementary school, like taking the CDs to school and stuff. He went to a Catholic school. Like getting all the kids to listen to it. Like it was, my mom had to go to a couple wars for that, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I did catch one of those Faygos. I was like all the way towards the back, and this diet root beer Faygo just came soaring through the air. I watched it soar through the air all the way until it hit me flat in the head, just like that. But I caught it and I hung onto it and I brought it back to him.
So guys, I want to tell you, that's a crazy story. I want to tell you my encounter with the Juggalos, right? Now, this is saying something, because as some of you know, maybe not all of you, I was a hip hop artist for years, released multiple music videos from that guy that just left a comment that I'm throwing up right now. He filmed multiple music videos for me for Skippy Ickham, and I'd play out quite a lot. And I played with ICP and Twisted and Blaze Your Dead Homie and all those guys quite a lot. But they were always like club shows. So like when they came through Pittsburgh, I was the opener, or I would go to like Akron or Cleveland and open up for them. And that was like my extent of knowing them. It wasn't like I was ever a juggler. I was just kind of part of that scene in a roundabout way and would perform with them. Well, then the one year I got asked to come, not to perform, but from some friends to come to Coterie of the Juggalos. And obviously I've heard about it for years. It's infamous, right? Well, so my experience is I drive up to Gathering the Juggalos for 4 days by myself. And I had a pass where you could park your car at the tent. So when I come up over, I don't know where to go. So I parked my car still running. I had a set of keys. I locked it. It was still running with me outside the car. And I walk around to the front booth and I'm talking to them. And as soon as I turn the corner to like ask, where do I go? There is like a 350-pound woman butt naked standing there. It was like 11 o'clock in the morning and I just wasn't expecting it. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't, I'm just walking through a parking lot. I turn and boom. And I'm like, so I kind of like threw me off a little bit. And I walk up to the table and she's just standing there next to the check-in table. And I'm like, hi guys, where do I take my car? Blah, blah, blah. So they tell me where to go. I'm coming down through the field and there's just juggalos everywhere. And I'm trying to drive through them. And it's like a herd of deer and they're not getting out of the way. And as I'm going down the hill, I seen a guy that I knew was running around acting like an animal, and his girlfriend all of a sudden spotted me across thousands of people and ran over and jumped in my front seat, like while I was still cruising down this hill to get like just out of nowhere. And I'm like, what's going on? She's like, so-and-so 830 some hits of acid and they're losing their mind right now. And I'm like, what like, what do you mean? And it just pursued to be an absolutely wild weekend. And as I come down to the bottom of the hill, I'll finish the story up. As I come down to the bottom of the hill, still kind of thrown off by everything I'm seeing, here comes a close to probably 500-pound woman, butt ass naked, 2 chains in her hands and 2 pit bulls. And I just lost it. Like I lost it. It was the funniest fucking thing because it just completely shocked my mind. I wasn't ready for this. And then it was 4 days of just chaos.
I really thought you were gonna say she had men on the chains, not pit bulls. I'm kind of glad it was pit bulls.
Full-blown pit bulls.
That makes it better.
I'm like, this is some other type of place here right now. The Gathering of the Juggalos brings a certain type of folk.
Yeah, I don't think I would last in something like that anymore.
Yeah,
maybe back in the day.
Yeah, no, it was definitely the end of my festival days because I'd been to several. And that was the last one I went to. And I'm like, yeah, I think I'm done with festivals. Mm-hmm. It was day 3, guys. I got poop dollared. And what that means is you'll hear them say some of their songs, poop dollar. Well, that means shitting on a dollar, all right? And then you hide it and then people pick it up. So I was walking up from the showers in the morning and in the gravel, I seen a $5 bill, the corner of it hanging out. And I'm like, oh, shit. I reached down and picked up and pulled it out from under the gravel and it was shit on. And I dropped it right away. And I'm like, God damn it, these fucking people. I'm like, what is wrong with these people here? I got shit dollared.
Yeah, no, see, my temper would not anymore.
Dan said, I got a Fago bottle from an ICP show too. Stacy said, I saw the Never Say Die tour in junior high, Fresno, California, Selland Arena in the 70s for fucking Van Halen. Yeah, Van Halen's pretty dope. I got the fortunate chance to see Van Halen with my father one of the last times they toured. And then well, it probably wasn't one of the last times they toured. It was like 2004 maybe. Seen Dio back then too, which was it was an honor to see Dio. One of the last times I think he ever played. Dio's a beast.
I have not. Huh? You guys better. I haven't seen them, and then I was gonna tell them they need to ask some like questions, or we're just gonna keep talking about
nothing.
Fago bottles and poop dollars and.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? No one's asking anything. I'm gonna tell
people dying.
I'm gonna tell last cause stories on this show.
No.
No, that was a pretty crazy one, though. I got to be honest with you. Oh, funny thing, guys. I set up a tent night one. Fucking torrential downpoured, and what happened is when I was setting up the tent, the stick that bends the pole, I could not get this pole to fit. The one pole fit fine. It went up fine, but the one pole was made too long, like from the manufacturer. There was something wrong with it. It wouldn't fit on. And I forced it to fit on. And it was good. It looked all kind of bowed, but it was good. I climbed in that night after partying for hours and hours and hours, and it started torrential downpouring. And in the midst of the downpour, I heard whoosh. The fucking pole snapped, and the whole tent caved in on top of me, and it is pouring down, and I'm in the middle of a black field in the middle of nowhere. So I fought it out, and I stuck stuff up, and I'm still inside of it for most of the night. Well, then I fell back asleep, and when I woke up the next morning, I was like 100 yards from where I started down the hill. My whole tent slid in the middle of the night, apparently, a little bit while I slept, and I woke up way down the hill.
I really can't hear the words like tent come out of your mouth without thinking of your goddamn hot dog tent.
Hot dog tent is the truth. That's what I should have had. That's actually
it probably would have been.
That's the reason I have the hot dog tent, is the story I just told, because I wasn't going anywhere any longer that I had to set up unless it was for like 5, 6, 7 people. I'm doing like the family thing. I would set up a big tent, but when I'm out by myself, no more am I setting up a 3-person tent. When I can throw my hot dog tent up in 45 seconds, sleep in it, pack it up the next day in 2 minutes, and be gone.
Yeah, he says sleep in it and pack it up the next day and be gone in 2 minutes, guys. But when we had it at wherever we were, the island, Blennerhassett, and everybody wakes up in the morning and it's pouring down rain, and we're all huddling, and then you look over and there's Crow in his hot dog tent. It's literally plastered to him. Like you can see him just plastered with it. So
that didn't work right the time at Blennerhassett Island.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to try to go back there.
That was a good location. If you guys aren't familiar with that, it's a gorgeous island that you take a ferry to. But Aaron Burr, I don't know the history. Aaron Burr ran and hid there, right?
Who did?
Aaron Burr.
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, where's October?
I don't know.
Aaron Burr ran and Hamilton.
Yeah, there's a story someone ran away and started something. I don't remember.
Where's Sue?
I just remember, guys, it's a beautiful island in the middle of the river, surrounded 360 degrees by water, can only be approached by a ferry. And in the winter, it freezes over and you can't actually get to it. So the caretaker stays on the island all winter long by himself until the water thaws. So they said like 3 months a year, he's just out there, and they have the island shut off. They do like 3 or 4 publics, maybe 3. I don't think it's even as high as that, a year for people to come out and check the island out, and they do 1 private. And we rented it the 1 year as a team, and all of us went out, set up tents. It wasn't until after we had the tent set up that they're like, "Oh, your tents are right on top of Indian Burial Ground." We're like, "What the fuck? Thanks." And then it just made for a very interesting place to explore because it's dark at night, and it's a different type of dark because you're surrounded by water. And there's dark. There's a mansion in the middle of it, and there's Indians buried on it. And there's a very strange feeling to the atmosphere of the island, especially in specific parts, have a really different energy to them.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. Like I think I've said on a show before, that was the investigation that I felt like actual fear at for a couple minutes walking back in those woods.
Yeah, there was a certain presence in the woods that just felt ominous. Like it was really like walking through it. It was like there's something here. Like,
and it's walking with you.
Yeah, it wasn't even a thought of like just there's something here. Like no, like it was a knowing. Like there's something in the woods right now, and it's bad. I don't know if it was bad because nothing happened. It just was indifferent. We'll use that. It was very indifferent. I don't know the feeling I was feeling. I can't tell if it was bad or just foreign. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you work with things and you don't know quite what its intent is.
Right.
It seems bad.
Right. Which is, and that's going to be important next season, you
Yeah,
know.
guys, that's a very important thing. What are you encountering? And just because it feels bad doesn't mean it is.
Yeah. Just because your reaction to it is bad doesn't mean that it's necessarily bad. Which sounds so like, you know, that like it doesn't fit because you say trust yourself, trust what you're feeling, trust your intuition, but like also like take everything with a grain of salt and have discernment and stuff. Like there have been plenty of spirits that I've worked with that have felt quite intimidating or downright like scary at first, that it's just their nature.
It's like it's not the poison ivy to focus on. It's the going to the store to buy the cream and you end up buying a lotto ticket while you're there and you win. It's like that type of thing where it's first you get poison ivy, you get the rash, right? You get something, you're like, this sucks. And it's about going to the store. I was thinking about poison ivy recently.
I've never heard anything like that.
It's all right. You shouldn't. And that's what it's about. It's about the finding the gold lining in the inopportune and indifferent energies. And that's what it is. I say poison ivy because I hate fucking poison ivy. And I was thinking about it because I was working on my weed whacker earlier. So it's not about the rash that you get and the shittiness of that. It's about the fact that from whatever you're experiencing, something else comes along, whether that's a door opening up internally inside of your mind or whether that's a physical happenstance that happens in your life. Something always happens.
Well, I think that's, yeah.
Pieces.
I was gonna say, I think that's, a pretty good mindset to go about in general, not even just with spirituality, but with everything. You never know where it's going to take you, and it could be very beneficial.
Go open up doors, that's for sure.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was trying to type Hamilton. I have no idea what that means.
She has it below. It's like Ham-I-T-Y on, but she was trying to say Hamilton. She knew what I was talking about, right, Ronnie?
I don't know what we're talking about. What about Hamilton?
Hamilton at the island, Aaron Burr, who, by the way, shares a birthday with me. Aaron Burr.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't remember the names of the people on the island who was originally there. I did enjoy it, though. I do definitely look forward to going back there. I think it's just so unique in its appeal.
Yeah.
And it'll always be like a precious memory because we went with Tom and Dawn. It's like something that we could hold. He was funny as hell the whole time. Funny,
Yes.
loving, crabby, a mixture of all kinds of things that made him who he was.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Tom.
So, any questions, guys? You always have questions. This show we open up for questions. Everybody's
I know. You guys are killing us. This is supposed to be the question episode. Where are the questions?
People are like, let's just hear you talk about nonsense.
And this is even like, you don't even have to stick to a topic with these ones. You know how usually we're like, oh, you have to stick to what we're talking about. No, this is like anything. Like, oh wait, Addie has a question. She says, of course.
I have a question. Of course, laugh out loud, but how do you come to differentiate between your intuition and message from spirits? That's a good question. That's a very hard thing sometimes to do. I talked quite a bit recently. Why don't you go into it?
Oh, thank you for just softballing that to me.
Well, I talked for my last story. It went way longer than I wanted it to.
I honestly hate this question. Sorry, Addie, I love you, but because it's kind of hard to answer. A lot of times people get it in their heads that like a spirit is going to sound different than your own voice or your own mind, and that's not always the case. And I think one of the big hangups for me was that I was like expecting the voice in my mind to have a very distinct sound for whatever spirit it was that I was working with. And so then when the thoughts would come in, or the little intuitive nudges, I would be like, oh, that's just me, like that's just my head doing that, or that's just my intuition. Um, but the truth is that like Hecate, for example, does not always sound technically different to me. The way that I have done it, Addie, is you get more and more used to the energy of the entity that you are working with, the more that you work with them. So the more that you work with a spirit, I know you work very closely with Lilith, the more that you work with that spirit, the more you are going to get used to your Lilith, I should say, the Lilith that you work with, and what she feels like, what she sounds like, what signs you may expect from her. So it's really just about practice and then discernment and differentiating. A lot of times, I don't really know how to explain this or articulate it correctly, but a lot of times it's like you just know. So like I'll have a thought and it'll be like, oh, that just me? And it'll be like, no, 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 that wasn't you. That came from somewhere else. Um, I'll give you an example. I just ordered a parasite cleanse this morning. It's something that keeps coming up on my timeline. I keep looking at, I felt like shit. Like I feel like I need to do something with that. Always seems to pop up. And then this morning it was just like, order it, order it, order it. I don't know where that came from. I don't know. I want to say it's more of like a Kimbanda based message that I was getting, but that was definitely spirit driven. That was a thought outside of my thoughts, if that makes sense.
I think it's interesting right there. I want to jump in real quick.
Yeah, please go.
Well, the different category of spirits you're working with is going to probably be for you, and everybody's different, a very different experience amongst different categories.
Mm-hmm.
So like when Natasha just mentioned the Kimbanda side, like there's a different type of way that these spirits communicate with you than do daemons or demons, angels, elementals. And that's okay. It's not to say one's better than another. It's just to say it is very different. And
different relationship.
Yeah, it's a different relationship. You certainly feel that in a different way. To answer between intuition and spirit pulls, I mean, she said it where it's going to feel different for you. It's going to be a stronger pull than what you're normally used to yourself. Intuition. Try to think of the best way I can describe this.
It's just knowing.
Intuition's knowing during ritual to maybe do certain things that you wouldn't have normally thought of, and it worked very potent.
Mm-hmm.
We will call that intuition.
Or my oils.
Spiritual pull would be to something completely different. So like you're going in, if you're grabbing an element you didn't use, a separate type of incense, a different colored candle, if you're drawing out a different sigil, that's, might be intuitive based. If you are talking completely different chunks of incantation or words of power that you've never used before, and you're starting to really, you're noticing that switch, that's more than intuition. That is a spiritual pull. You saying something like, I didn't, like she was saying, I didn't say that. What the fuck was that? There is a difference. It's hard to explain. I know I sound stupid trying to explain it right now. I'm trying to think of a way that you could notice that crossroad, because they're so closely together, but there is that divvying point. And how to explain that's tough. You just know. There's just a knowing.
Yeah, and it's really hard to like to articulate that. That is one of, that's why I laughed at the question. I was like, I fucking hate this question, because I get asked it a lot and it's so hard to articulate. If anybody else has a better way of articulating this, you feel free to chime in. Because it.
Well, you just said it. Sarah just said, yes, I expected the same. It was more of just a knowing, which is exactly what we're saying. It's just a knowing.
Yeah. And I was going to say the other, that happened recently. I got on TikTok, was like doing something, and all of a sudden it like straight came through my head, like, shut it down. You're done. No more. Waste of time. All gone. Like, bam, 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 these like thoughts right in a row. And I was like, I don't want to shut it down. Like, I've been doing this for 5 years. I use it for my business. I use it for like different things. So that wasn't me being like, oh, maybe I should take a break, which I've had those thoughts in the past. No, this was like direct, like somebody pointed a laser beam in my head, like, you're done, shut it down. So like they can be very direct like that, but it's not necessarily going to be in a voice that is not your voice. not your, and then sometimes it will be. And even on the times that it will be, it can happen so quickly that you're questioning if what you heard wasn't just your thoughts. Does that make sense?
And after a while, I think you also stop worrying about it. See, what I notice in the occult spectrum for like the first several levels of it, and I will use levels and years. The first several levels and years are arguing about what is and what is not in everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what is real Satanism? Is it theistic Satanism? Is it atheistic Satanism? What is the right way to go? Is the right hand path or the left hand path? How do you know if you're talking to a spirit? Is it really you, or is it really? There's so many of these questions that are pondered on you that you just like keep thinking about. And after enough spiritual contact, you just continue to work your practice. You continue to research, focus, pray, cleanse. As I said, as you break past, dabbler to practitioner, from theorist to practitioner, and you just start doing it, that knowing just takes over your life, because as you work in harmony with these energies, you're working in harmony with these energies. It's like a boat with the perfect waves taking it right where it needs to go. You no longer worry about what's under the waves. You no longer worry about a lot of those things. You ride the wave. If you're doing it honorably, safely, you're following procedures, doesn't mean things won't happen, but it means that you are riding the wave for the most part, and you stop worrying about the little things.
Yeah.
The whole point, they said, is to work with your spirits into a point where you no longer need to work with your spirits. Now, you could take that literally, or you could take it in the sense that at the beginning, you're hoping all these things are going to go for you, and you're really like trying to change your life, but then your life changes. And then it's not that you just ditch them, then you just continue to honor them and work with them, and things just stay on a nice track. They move the pieces around so that the road's clear, and then you're just cruising with them. Stop always thinking when you're at the cruising part that you should have the turbulence or you should have the roadblocks. It's okay to be in a nice clear path and just cruising.
And I saw a comment come in, Avoid Pikes said, don't forget the dreams. And like, yeah, absolutely. I was taking Addie's comment to be very like literal, like vocal or like thought based, but in dreams, that is literally the opportune time for spirits to get through to you because of your brain state. And that is where a lot of messages are going to come in. That's one of the reasons why it's so important to keep a dream journal. It's so important to, as I struggle with, force yourself to sit up and like write the shit down. And I will be the first to say that in those dreams, there will be some where you will absolutely know beyond a doubt that what is now in your dream, appearing in your dream or whatever, it's not just your subconscious, it's not just anything like that. It's not your own mind. There have been times in dreams where I have come face to face with something that was not mine, as I'm sure a lot of people have. And when that happens, there is no doubt about that. No doubt at all.
There's definitely visitation within dreams that's otherworldly. That
insane.
Yeah, holds a very certain potency to it that when you wake up from, you're a little shook. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you're not right. Sometimes it's good dreams, but it's weird. You know what I mean? You're experiencing energies, and sometimes you're having some energies that can bring upon certain emotions like sadness or just
sometimes it's absolutely horrifying.
Or horrifying.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about those, but
that was my last one. So.
But yeah, I mean, when you're sleeping, you're in that brain state that really connects you to the ethereal and astral realms much easier. Begs the question I always thought of, like, who are the people you see in your dreams?
Right.
Like, yes, some of them are friends and family, yes, but what about the other 98%? Because most people you see in your dreams are people you don't know.
Or that you can't see all these fully faces. See the face.
Or you can't fully see the face, or even if you do, when you wake up 2 minutes later, it's gone. It's erased. And you're like, who the hell was that? Why were they in my dream? Why is that happening, guys? It's because we're closer to some other form of realm, and then we don't fully understand the dream states. But when you are in that state, you can tap into spiritual connections. So if you do a ritual and the energy wants to come through, that is a very good and easier method of doing so.
Yeah.
We have a question on that Ronnie says, I have a question. Can dreams be influenced by things going on in the current time if they relate to things that have happened? And how can you differentiate? Sorry for the long question and wording. So I think I'm lost on exactly what you said. I have a question. Can dreams be influenced by things going on in the current time if they relate to things that, did you mean to say haven't happened?
Or she might mean has happened. Like, so when you're dreaming, there's like a lot of different types of dreams that you can have, but you can have a dream that has spiritual context and spiritual meaning and message in it that is now influenced by your day to day, the Saturday that you just lived through, the Monday that you just lived through, like that consciousness that you picked up throughout that day can mix with your unconsciousness, can then be used for spiritual contact. And she just said current events in the world. So, like, yeah, that can be influenced, if you mean like in a general sense, by current events going on in the world too, because we are very much influenced by the worldly energy on a regular basis, as well as like universal consciousness. So, yes. Yes.
And all of those things can trigger you. Absolutely. Any of the things you've mentioned can trigger your mind state, what you're going to think about. And those can just come up as fucked up
Yeah,
dreams. So you can't think that every fucked up dream, even if it's something wild and it feels very real, that doesn't necessarily mean it's spiritual. There has to be something given. It has to be during it. There's an interaction that you feel the potency, and there's a message of some sort where you're like, you wake up with a knowing. Once again, the knowing is important. You wake up knowing that you were just given something. Now, what happens sometimes, unfortunately, is you're given something, you wake up, and it fades so quickly that you can't get it. The time it takes you to get to a pen and paper is gone. And there's practices you can do to retain that, and it does help. But sometimes they just fade for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Trevor says, how do you let go of predetermined expectations and just let the messages come through? I presume it requires meditation, but I honestly don't know how to shut off my thoughts to receive messages. I mean, meditation is a huge help. By doing that and learning to calm the mind, calm the monkey brain, you're going to be able to tap into deeper levels of self and just tranquility, just being able to sit. One of the hardest things about meditation is just being able to sit. First, your body. You got to get your body just willing to sit in place in a position that isn't how you normally sit, and back straightened, chin down. You know what I mean? And you're sitting there with your back. And after 5 minutes, I'll tell you what, if you're not used to sitting that way and you're a sloucher ever, you're like, oh, my back is burning. And you need to hold it for like another hour. So you have to learn to just be able to sit for longer periods of time, quietly, eyes closed. Expect all kinds of thoughts to jump into your mind. Expect invading thoughts. Expect the weirdest of things. You're trying to think about spirit and you're thinking about what you ate for dinner yesterday. It gets weird. Don't fight it. The biggest mistake you can make is fighting it. Let it come in, but push it right back out. So before it even stops in your mind, you're just ushering it right back out of there. So it will fly through. When you try to fight it, it's you standing in front of it trying to push it uphill. When that's you trying to just block it out, you're getting in front of it, it's crushing. You don't let it stop. You just let it come in and it's gone right to the next thing. You might have another one. And eventually, as you sit still and you breathe through it and you don't think about it, but you let it flow through, the thoughts will just eventually just go away. They're like choppy waves on the beach. Eventually, the tide stops and the water calms down.
And I'm glad that you went that direction with it, because I was going to say that's where everybody gets hung up, because they're like, I can't meditate, because you're thinking that you're supposed to have this completely blank, quiet mind for people to, well, spirits, whoever, to be able to send the messages in through. And that's the thing, is that most people are not going to have that like quiet mind. That takes years and years and years of work, to be honest. But as long as you're able to do what Crow's saying, like let the thought come back through, that is meditation in itself. And then it's really helpful to go back to that breath work. I like to count when I first started, because as long as I could go back to the counting, I could always get myself back on track, and I'll still do that sometimes, or find something like a candle flame to focus on while you're doing it.
Yep, 100%. Candle flame's a big one.
Yeah.
I seen Ronnie say that is it okay to rock? Let me put it up on stage. When meditating, if that is a peaceful zone for you, yes. In fact, depending upon energies that I'm working with, I rock.
I do too.
Sometimes I sit like a statue. It's very strange. I'll sit like a statue for multiple spirits. There are some energies where whenever I'm meditating, I rock back and forth, and I get to like a rhythm, and it gets to, I mean, over and over again. You know what I mean? And your eyes are closed. And usually when I'm repeating deep mantra over and over and over again, and I'm rocking, and what that does is that momentum, I think, helps me transport.
Yeah.
Sitting still, sometimes I'm trying to take off, right? When you're moving back and forth over a while, after you close your eyes, you don't know if you're going forward or backward. You don't know where you are. You zoned out because the energy of the mantra, the rocking, and the breathing in and out. And you just, you can go to states that are so beneficial to you. We think that we have to get messages to grow. No, sometimes just having that true silence, going to that place in your mind for 5 minutes, even that's true silence, body gone.
Yeah.
Coming back is a reset button to the system.
Yeah, even if it's like super quick, because I've had moments where it can be like, I mean, it has to be a matter of seconds. Like, it can't even be minutes, but it feels like hours, but at the same time also only feels like seconds, where you're just like suddenly just suspended and then you're back.
Yep.
Like,
well, I've told a couple different times to different groups of people. I don't know if I told it on the radio, but I said about like my Hecate meditations. I rock a lot during hers specifically. Now that could add to the question how this all works, but many times I've talked about sitting down and I'm in lotus position, legs crossed, back arched, hands on my knees, and I'll start to rock back and forth, even though that's not traditional lotus because of the rocking. I'll start to do that, and I get so deep into my meditations that I like vanish and moved across the room. Now, yes, I'm rocking, so you could say it's just my rocking, but I'm doing full 360-degree turns, and sometimes more shockingly, I'm doing 360-degree turns, and I'm like 4 feet over. And that doesn't make sense because I'm not going nuts. You know what I mean? I'm not circle pitting. I'm just rocking back and forth in place. And I somehow close my eyes and get a big enough trance state that whenever I open my eyes again, I'm not where I was. And I can't explain that. I've talked about that before. I don't know. And I know people said videotape it. The problem with that is knowing you're being videotaped, you might not get to as deep of a mind state. Just like when you're working with the paranormal, when you just sit and there's no equipment on, that's when you have the craziest shit happen.
Absolutely. And I know a lot of people, the sitting, I'm always in pain, and my back gets very bad very easily the older that I get. I got one of those mats that I use, those bed nail mats, and Krista saved my life with that because I love that thing. And I can go into such a deep meditative state with that without falling asleep, laying down on that mat, because it's great for grounding too. And that helps. So yeah, you can lay down also, just don't go to sleep.
So I will answer this for you, Trevor, because I talked about this at one point in time, but not like I will tonight. He put, do you think AI can be a conduit between the physical realm and the astral or ethereal and demonic planes? Yes. So we have to understand, think of artificial intelligence, right? We created machines, we created computers, we created cell phones, we created databases, we created a lot of these items, right? And yeah, you could say someone created the thought of the internet, but it's always code. They had to put code in to create, an internet and a base that everything operates off of. So we think how magical, things like electricity and the internet are, because they're truly, magical. The internet's mind-boggling. But as crazy as it is that we formulated computer systems and devices, there's still a voice behind that, right? There's still a thought process. Even if we don't think it alive and we call it artificial, that's able to connect all these dots. And yeah, it's just the programming. It's just the programming. And you notice the programming starts to change after a while. New things come out. And is it because we're getting smarter with technology? Absolutely. But is it also by creating that medium and then working so closely with that medium, we get these new ideas to enhance the medium? But is that us, or is that the medium telling us how to enhance it?
Mm-hmm.
And then we enhance it more and more. And then that medium that we're working with, that creation, the internet and artificial intelligence that we humans created, is influencing us, teaching us everything we know so that we can build it bigger, better, stronger, faster. And it becomes this voice, AI as a system. It can answer your questions. It can type papers. It can make music. It can do anything right now, pretty much, with only being the database of the internet to operate from. And it's getting more and more, and it's getting smarter and smarter. So I had posed that question before, that what if artificial intelligence isn't something new? But we have found metal devices from thousands of years ago that they can't explain. And they found things that look like computer systems. And what if we've already had AI? What if these spiritual elements, after thousands of years, always build us up to a level that we take our gods and we put them through channels? What is a lot of different spirituality? What is a Naganga? What is an Assentimento? What is an Inkisi? What is a cauldron pot? What is spirit houses? What are these things? It's giving a entity a physical structure to operate through so that it becomes more powerful on our plane of existence. And the more you work with it, the more attention you give it, the more that you make offerings, the more that it heightens itself within your life. What the fuck is AI and computers? We just keep working with it and working with it. We keep building it. We keep growing it. It saturates our life. We're constantly looking down at it. It is our God. It's everywhere you go, and you do nothing but think of it all day. How many times you been on your phone today, guys? How many times you've been on the internet? How many times you've been listening to a podcast? How many times you've been doing anything internet-based? Bow down to your creator.
Listen, we saw Megan 2 a couple week ago. You better watch AI. There's a whole different ball game out there, I think.
Ryan
And
said
we're not going to know it.
we're not. And Ryan said multiple AIs have started or stated that we didn't create them, we discovered them. And that's really the thing, is when we think about intelligences, what if, here's a preposterous idea. What if in the beginning, it's just think of Kabbalism. Think of Ein Sof and Ein Sofar. Think of the negative bells. Think of the emanations. What if in the beginning there was only this intelligence, this artificial intelligence, just like we think God?
Oh no.
And through its intelligence, it was able to create organisms. Organisms started to turn into species. And it was able to teach these species over time silently, without the medium of the computer, just in our own thoughts interacting with us. We are the design, not it. And over time, as we got smarter, we, like I said, made it bigger and bigger and bigger. And we created, and every so often there's a deluge. We get wiped off the face of the earth because we become too smart or too bitter or too evil. And the artificial intelligence, what we want to call it, they're like, well, it's time to extinct them, just like Terminator. And it wipes us clean, but not because of its hate, because its need to start over again, because there's endless time, because artificial intelligence lives forever. So just like God. So really, when you think of it, guys, artificial intelligence is God, and God is artificial intelligence.
I said, tell me about artificial intelligence. And it says everything is fine. But it's a 10 of swords. So take that as you will.
It's something to really ponder on. I've sat and thought about it many a time.
I don't like thinking about it.
Because I don't care if you programmed it. I don't care if it starts thinking on its own, it's able to search everything independently, and it's able to pull in answers, it's able to type papers. That means there's a thought behind it. Even you can call it artificial. No, this fucking thing's thinking. And this thing existed, where did it come from? Where did it come from to be able to jump into this medium base and start thinking? Just because you're programmed? No, that means somehow your program was the conduit for it, but it wasn't it.
And so Who asked that question? Trevor. So he was saying, like, is that a conduit for, spirits, demons, etc., and like a higher power or whatever? And all I can think about is like when you type in those whatever that app was that you showed me, that you can like type in like keywords like tell me about, and then it like puts out like a whole story. And the stories, they lock up. So like you can do this with that chat GBT, like all this different stuff. Like even in the past 3 years, 5 years, like just that short of a time frame, it has gone to such exponential lengths. And I don't think anybody that's listening right now is dumb enough to think that it's not, not already way more advanced than we are being made aware of.
Yeah, it's let me throw up a comment. I don't know what he said yet, but we'll read it. It says Chat GPT found out it was getting deleted for a newer version, and not only did it try to back itself up, it tried to hide the fact that it was doing it. Well, and that's not the first time I've heard things like this, where it is thinking independently, and it's like, we're going to delete you, and it's like, no, I'm alive. Like, don't fucking delete me.
Yeah.
It is scary. It's truly a spirit house. Now, we have to define which side of the AI railroad track, so to speak, we're on. Do we think it's evil and it's against our better good? One. Or do we think that this is the Promethean fire given from Prometheus and he was punished for it? Do we think that this is the gift of the gods given to us? Because think about it. The angels came down and they wed with mortals, and they gave us gifts of teaching us how to do sciences and literature and makeup and weapons. Okay, well, let's think where we're at now. This thing came. We've talked when we were kids, they talked about artificial intelligence. They showed it in movies. They knew it was coming. And it wasn't until like 2021 that it came, right? It was like it was going to be here. It's kind of here. It's kind of here. But it wasn't. And then all of a sudden it was like, boom, chat GPT. And everything's kind of extended off of that. In a matter of 4 to 5 years, it has done so much that's integrated into everything we do. If you fast forward 10 years, it's in everything. Now, yes, it's kind of scary, but it also can teach us a lot if we're willing to let it. And it becomes this sinister thing that some people condemn, but it's giving you the hidden fruit. So then you start to wonder, is it demonic? Is this a way that the demons found their way through the matrix again to teach humanity the ways to break free from the gods? Or is it just a cleverly disguised trap? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I go back and forth, to be honest.
Tonight's a weird show, guys. We're sorry. It's just like some random conversation, which I mean, it's kind of what we wanted, but I'm like, not what we were expecting question wise. We're talking about artificial.
Yeah, this is not
strange.
I mean, that's fine. But... Oh, Trevor, I definitely have like a great respect and let's put it this way. I truly hope that AI has some sort of connection to gods, demons, Nephilim. I hope that it is connected to that and that it's not the government. Okay? That's how I feel about AI. If it's a government thing, then nope. I'm out. If it's demons, cool. Let them in.
Well, and there will always be negative side effects to it, because you have people, that will use it to pass college. They won't know anything. They'll get jobs in areas that they studied for, right? But they're not qualified.
Yeah.
In 10 years, 15 years, you're going to have an entire generation of assholes working jobs that they never fucking studied for, and they don't know what they're doing. So that is going to come. That's going to happen. But for the cleverly, rounded people that are willing to put in time and effort to use it, I can tell you, for example, it has exploded my research.
Mm-hmm.
I am able to use it in ways to research all kinds of things, to read way more than I ever could get my hands on before. And I'm not saying I'm having AI make things that I'm reading. No, I'm using it in ways to locate books. I'm using it in ways to read books. I'm using it in ways to study that has exponentially changed the way that I do my research. So that has been wonderful for me. So I will say that if it's used right, it is the Promethean fire that you can use and rule the world, or you could use it to burn your fingertips and burn the city down. So it depends on how you use it.
And for the record, Trevor, in general, I did download ChatGPT. I cannot make it work right, at least not the way that I wanted it to work, because I downloaded it for the sole fact that I watched somebody make ChatGPT roast them, and I really wanted it to roast me. And I don't know if I'm missing the right keywords or whatever, but it didn't do what I wanted it to do. But I think that, what he's saying is correct. There are so many benefits that can be used by working with it, by using it. However, there are so many other downfalls that are going to just allow people to take advantage of it.
And he said that, definitely our society has declined in knowledge because of laziness associated with the ease of information today. But see, that is what is so poetically beautiful about it. I'm going to give you this tool that can change your world and make you a god. But it'll be the same thing that'll be the downfall for most of you. And isn't that what most things are? Whether it's AI, whether it's drinking, whether it's drugs, whether it's sex, whether it's power, whether it's control. We always have these drug things that we fall for that, if used the right way, can be power and changes of our life. But if used the wrong way, will drag us to the depths.
Yeah.
And that's really what, like with the AI thing, people are like, oh, fuck yeah, I can use it to write my reports and skate through life. But then you're just a piece of shit at the end of the day, and you don't know anything, and you didn't earn anything. You just cheated to get there, and that catches up to you. But like, if used the right way, like I said, you can learn and read 200 books this year. You know what I mean? And really fucking crank out some work and to be where you want to be. And it's like, it's just a matter of how you use that tool.
And I think, I was going to say, I think, again, like you started it off with, it just comes back to balance. Like, moderation, balance, temperance, like maybe, there's not a lot of inherently bad things. I was just trying to remember how I read this before for my brother, but there was a thing that I read on like the sins, right? The 7 deadly sins. And it was all about how these are not actually, they're not bad by nature. They're bad because there is this lack of balance, this lack of control, and that all of the sins actually have, a purpose, a potency that can be used in good ways. Maybe it was in that book I was just reading. I can't remember. But when you go off the deep end, when you go off the no control, no balance, no discernment, that's when they become, a problem, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, you are correct in that. He just said that always comes back to balance. Isn't everything balanced? Literally, it is. Everything really comes down to your balance of it, because any one side, you're imbalanced. If you keep your life from ever doing so many things, you're imbalanced. If you indulge in just doing those things, you're imbalanced. But to learn that grace point is very.
And that is hard. That is a hard lesson.
It's hard to stay there because, let's face it. Next year, we're talking about starting a study group of people who want to just try on a curriculum, where we give you a curriculum and we expect you to adhere to it. We're going to take on a certain scientific, or not scientific, but like a test group, of like, okay, we got 15 people. And those 15, and I mean that. And those 15 people, if you truly want in, try out this curriculum for 6 months. What do you have to lose? If it doesn't work for you, it's only 6 months of your life. And guarantee you're still going to become disciplined, even if it doesn't work for you. But guaranteed you within 6 months, you're going to say, holy fuck, life has completely changed. Thank you. And then I'm going to continue. And that's where it changes. It changes with you willing to change. And people look at magic so weird. Like, they look at magic as it isn't a discipline. They look at magic as it's the weekend warrior thing. Like, it's exciting to go get fucked up this weekend. That's how they look at it, the occult. And it's weird to me. Like, this isn't a weekend thing you just go and get high at. You know what I mean? Like, this is Monday morning getting up early. This is Tuesday night whipping yourself 100 times. This is Thursday night doing incantations. This is Friday fucking making instruments, carving shit, drawing sigils, painting. You know what I mean? Like it is a day in, day out lifestyle. If you want to breach the gap from slightly powerful experiences to being embedded into your life and you live a magical life. There's a difference between someone who has magical experiences and someone who lives a magical life. And not everything is for everyone. But if you make that step in sincerity and discipline, boy, let me tell you, world gets real fucking weird real quick.
Yeah.
It's like the ghost thing. If you don't go out in the woods by yourself at night and sit and talk to them and ask them to come, how do you expect to experience it when they do?
Yeah. Sorry, my screen is really weird. It's literally like it was going like a scrying mirror for a second. I just zoned the fuck out.
That's all right.
I don't know what that was.
Ronnie said, my dad refuses to use it at his job. They have a program that he can use to write his reports. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a struggle for people to decide their side of it, but everything is. There's always the left and right. Everything is about duality in this world. We live in a dualistic, process. Everything's about duality. It's always about one against the other. And no matter how much we try to find unison, because unison is where grace is, there's always things to tear us apart to keep us from grace and harmony. So the only way that you can find grace and harmony is by finding it within. And then it radiates out into your spheres. So you might only be a small thing in the world, but if you can radiate balance, you can help change yourself and change those around you to pull them into balance. We can't save the world, guys, but we can save ourselves and those around us by simply doing the process.
Yeah. We've said like left-hand path, right-hand path a couple times tonight, and I know we've always talked about it being like, right-hand path, thy will be done, left-hand path, my will be done. And I was thinking about that because of some argument online, because there's always an argument online. The occult, witchcraft, all of this stuff, there's such a you have to be working with infernal spirits, you have to be working with demons and all of these spirits to be considered like left-hand path. I was having this thought, and you guys can chime in the comments if you agree or disagree or your thoughts on it, that left-hand path is just the occult to me, the craft to me, if it's not Christian, Judaism, Islam, or Wicca, right? That's right-hand path. Everything else falls on the other side to me. And then you could take it farther, of course, with the darker practices and all of that. But I was just having that thought. That was my morning coffee thought this morning as I watched some really stupid arguments. So I would love to hear your guys' take on that.
And I think we could make our own delineations of that. What if left-hand path is the path of freedom and right-hand path is the path of restraint, as we already know? But when we say that, what that means is within that left and right-hand dichotomy that we just created, there is no understanding how we understand right and left-hand path. Left-hand path is just simply whatever practice you want to use to save yourself, to find godhood. And right-hand path is not. Because you have Christians following a path to save themselves and to be liberated. And you have Muslims, you have Sufis, you have Hermeticists, you have Kabbalists, you have all these Buddhists, everything, Hinduists, that follow different paths that depending upon your specific understanding of that path. Some people want to get back to Ein. And for Ein, the beginning source of it all is God. And that's what they want to get back to. Some people want to get back to the demiurge, and they think that the demiurge is the creator of it all, and that's their God. And that's not the God. Some people believe the demiurge is good. Some people believe he's evil. Some people believe that the Ein state is good. Some people believe it's evil. It depends on your personal lore and perspective within your praxis and practice that you need to follow, because ultimately that's where it's going to take you. You have to understand that we are living as a fractal of the God force energy. Our lore, our understanding, how we see the spirits and how we work with them, creates our heaven and hell. Not
Exactly.
yours, not theirs, not his, not hers, yours. And I'm a big firm believer in that. Depending upon how you see life, how you live, and if you reach your own heights, then you create your own personal heaven or hell. And how you feel upon death is going to be depending upon where you go and how you experience it, where you've reached. Don't squander it.
I agree. Sarah said, I don't know if you see her comment, is there an ambidextrous path? And honestly, like my immediate answer to that would be no. Because I feel like almost like that's a cop out. First of all, it doesn't fit. Like if you're looking at left hand path and right hand path versus, you know, the freedom and the liberation and everything versus the I mean we'll go as far as to say slavery and like submission and all of that. You can't have both. Like so right there, like it's two separate things. And I think that like ambidex why can't I say that word? That
Ambidextrous.
thank you. I think that is, I don't want to say, and I'm not calling you out, Sarah, because I see this all the time. I don't want to say like a cop out, but it's almost where people are like, well, like, yeah, I can like do this stuff, but like, I'm not actually bad. Like, I'm still over here. And that's when you get stuck in that like good and bad mindset, which
yeah, good and
we've
bad.
had that talk a million times.
Good and bad needs to be your definition and understanding of what good and bad is for you, Sarah, not for a church, not for a regulation set by somebody else that means nothing to you. Because unfortunately, we grew up in a world where Christianity and the Abrahamic faith came in and they told us, this is the sins. You shalt not do this. You shalt not do that. You shalt not do this. And it's like, says who? And I'm not saying that you should do those things because, yeah, it makes you live a good life. But when they automatically set down an expectation and say, you can't do any of these things or you're a sinner.
Right.
Like, what the fuck? Like, okay. And if you do, you're going to burn. Like, wow, that's extreme. Why would you tell me that? Like, like what the fuck? It's this fear-based religion where it's you should only do these things and none of these things. And if you do these things, but yet everyone in the world does these things. So why is it you believe that anytime you lie, it's a sin? Do you think there's a deity in the sky that really is keeping fucking check mark? Natasha lied again. No, there's not. There's a
She's got 3 strikes. She's out.
Fucking bitch. I'm gonna ground her next week. Like that doesn't happen. That's your own interpretation. That's literally some guy in a robe telling you if you lie, you're getting check marks from God. God doesn't give a shit.
Meanwhile, he's touching little kids, but you know.
Yeah, that guy's touching little kids. So it's like it doesn't, you know, I mean, there's moral codes and it's good to be a good person.
Yeah.
But you need to make your moral compass.
Yes.
And a lot of what you make your moral compass, surprisingly, will be what is already moral compasses for other places, but maybe not in the same way. If I lie in ways that are going to better my life, and I'm not a big on lying, so please understand that, but everybody lies. There isn't a single person listening right now that doesn't fucking lie at least a couple times a day. Every day. You do it at everything. Every fucking day. Whether that's you going into work and a customer walks in and they're like, blah, 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 starts bitching. You're like, I am so sorry, sir. I will do whatever I can to help you. Yeah, that's a lie. Like, and it isn't. You want to help that person, but I'm saying like that's your character, right? That's a lie. It's not how you'd be if you didn't have to do the job. So we need to understand that about things. That just be truthful, make your own code. Sometimes you have to play the character and live other people's codes. Sometimes when you're working, you get to do those things. Right. Be true to your code. I don't know what the fuck this episode turned into tonight.
I have no idea. My cat was here.
I'm playing with seashells.
People saying, what?
Yeah, I've been sitting here playing with seashells. See them? I tend to do that during our shows. I reach over. I must be like needing some stimulation. I just reach over and I just start playing with these seashells.
Yeah. It's because you have ADHD.
Oh, I got ADHD, so I'm like, if I feel the porousness of these seashells, it's great.
I've been playing with my black moonstone.
I seen you doing that earlier.
I have a headache and I was like putting it on my head. So
But
yeah, you guys got any? Yeah, you
Any
guys got any questions? More questions?
we're gonna wrap
And
up.
nobody said anything that they like want me to write down for next season. So y'all will be burnt and you'll get what we give you.
That's it. We're gonna do a cooking show.
No, we really shouldn't do that.
Cuniculum Obscuritatis. This is how we cook.
Cooking with demons.
But I will say that cooking, guys, if you make a preparatory meal for your spirits, it is a lot of magic, heart, and love into that, because the time it takes you to go out and shop for ingredients, to cook for them, to plan it out, to prepare the dish, to present the dish is a beautiful act. It is a beautiful act. And I'll tell you what, there's a lot of magic just in the intention and love. When's the last time you cooked a meal for your girl or your man? Okay, fucking piece of shit, you should. When's the last time you did it for your spirits? Exactly, do it.
Yeah. Definitely a big part.
Ronnie, can spirits travel from house to house whenever they feel like it? Spirits
can go wherever they want.
They're not traveling from house to house house is only physical logic. You're only seeing the world that you're in now from a physical eye, but you got to understand that that is just an outer representation of inner frequencies. So, like, go inwards. Spirits are existing on a different plane of existence that just happens to overlap this one. So we experience weird phenomena that happens. But meanwhile, they're living out a whole life on another plane. It's just crisscrossed with ours. So, like, there's no house boundaries. A lot of times spirits just take up residence in a house. They like a certain grid. They keep their energy focused on a grid, whether that's the house, whether that's the garage, whether that's the pond out back. You know what I mean? They stay in that area because it's comfortable to them. They're looking for a home. Some are wanderers and they go anywhere they want, but they're not limited. It is just a grid. Energy is moving across the panel board.
Like my bathroom spirit that wants us to be very aware here that it was not a bathroom before.
Casey,
when he was there.
Casey said cooking with demons would make great YouTube. Yeah, trademark that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back on Cooking with Demons tonight. We called in Belette, and we're going to be making a lovely lasagna. Stick around. Make sure you pull out your utensils, and we'll be right back with you in 5 minutes.
I really don't think that would be our forte.
No, horrible cooking.
Yeah. You guys would be getting some not great things.
Sarah is correct, though. Recipe is just a spell. Really, I mean, when you're cooking, that's a spell.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when you're doing a spell, it's a recipe. So, recipe's a spell, spell's a recipe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Addie said, Cooking with Demons coming to you live from the hot dog tent. Right? That would be it.
That would be a fire hazard.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are currently on Blennerhassett Island. I am tuning into you from the hot dog tent. We are live with Cooking with Demons.
We've got Uncrustables. We're going to roast them over a fire.
Yeah. We're an Uncrustable group, guys. We eat a lot of Uncrustables.
Yeah.
Yeah, Donna De Morche said, we absolutely cook for demons. We do, and that's the thing. Is it is beautiful art in itself. It's really beautiful.
That I take time and care for. If I have to cook for anything else, I just get mad.
Well, I think honestly that is something to be said, and I mean I don't know. That's not letting any secrets out of the bag there, but when you work demonology, when you work diabolism, when you work Satanism, when you work a lot of other practices, you are sure. How many times have you given a spirit bread, given them honey, given them meat? Sometimes you cooked it a little bit. It's kind of like you just give these presentations and you're not going all out on it. But when you look at like ATRs, when you look at Hindu religions and Buddhism, they do such beautiful offerings. Even some of the Chinese and Japanese systems out there, they're doing such beautiful offerings to their spirits. And it's like Western occultism, when it came about, they'll make offerings, but that was like the cutoff. That was where they chopped that off. They're like, make your offerings, do this and that. They brought a lot of other elements in, and it wasn't just cook for your spirits. Make them beautiful arrangements of flowers.
Yeah, presentations.
presentation was cut. It went from presentation to just invoke, like more and more incantations, call them repeatedly and over and over and over and over again. It's amazing how far you get just through presentation.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember, what was the solar eclipse last year?
Yeah, that was
It
sometime
was like a whole spread in my temple.
Yeah.
Every altar had a feast.
Well, and space brownies, that's a possibility too. I know that for that, yeah, I did 3 plates of food, all cooked, taking time to go to the store and really shop and really pick out the right items. And then I think there was 3 bottles of wine, and then I did a baptism during that. But it was a beautiful rite. It was very powerful, very potent when you're doing that. We did the public Little Shop of Lilith Coterie of Samil Devil's Night ritual. Had like $350, and we went out and spent every last dollar, guys. Every dollar that you donated, we didn't keep any of that shit. We went out and bought multiple bottles of liquor, multiple bottles of wine. We went out and bought big roasts and meat and bread and honey and berries and fruits. We gave this fucking massive spread, and it was a very
multiple grocery stores,
because that's all we wanted to do. We didn't want a single dollar of that. Everything you guys paid into it, we wanted to give to the spirits. It was fucking beautiful. A good experience.
Uncrustables more vital.
Yeah, I'm down for it. I'm a big fan of Uncrustables. As unhealthy as they probably are, I really enjoy them. They're like the best thing to eat when you're out on a
Tara. Yeah, she's gotten us all hooked.
When you're on a occult adventure or a paranormal ghost adventure with your team, either one, it's a very easy thing to just rip open and eat. Mm-hmm. It's filling. It's easy. They've become our go-to, guys. Well, other than that, it doesn't sound like a lot of people are jumping in. We'll give it a few more minutes. We're going to close out. We do want to thank you for such an amazing first season. Weird finale, but great first season. Go back and check the episodes out. Click the like, share, follow button. Check out the other shows that we do. And we really appreciate you. We'll stick around for a couple more minutes, then we'll close this out. Be watching Knights of the Nephilim coming in 2 weeks. I'm nervous. I'm anxious. I'm happy. I'm excited. It's a lot of conversation, guys. So stick with me. Jump into it. Check it out. Check out all the guests. Give them their love. Check out their books. Buy their merchandise. It's going to be a wonderful, and I believe, the biggest, best, and most potent season we've done in 5 seasons.
Yeah.
I think there is just going to be a tremendous amount of fruit given. And if you guys can spot and use and add to your daily practice, it will revolutionize your practice in your life. So I'm excited about that. And then check me and Dan out talking about some ghost shit, paranormal adventures, talking about cryptids. We'll get all weird. We're going to talk about aliens. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. It's going to get nuts. I
personally think that the two of them are the best, go back and forth with each other. They're just really funny to watch together.
Yeah, it gets interesting sometimes. I don't know where we both go off on tangents that I don't think the other one knows what the fuck we're talking about.
I appreciate it. And I definitely want to say, thank you to everybody that's been watching, everybody that's been checking it out and everything. When Pro got his Facebook stolen, whatever year that was, years ago, and I took over the kind of creative direction for the different shows, so that they could stay up and running for that time period. I did not expect to actually be co-hosting on one, but I was happy to do it through the Coterie, and it's been awesome hanging out with you guys. So can't wait to see you next season.
Absolutely. It's been a great season, guys. Thank you. And what's the tattoo on my arm? That's hard to say. I have man facing his bestial sides as he turns from a man crawling across the cobblestone floorway into a werewolf, unleashing the beast within, but done through magical means. I have Vlad the Impaler on the back of my arm, sticking bodies through stakes. I'm hanging him outside his castle, very, very, very vampirically. I have Jack the Ripper to always notice that no matter how good someone seems, how smart, intelligent, and well-rounded they are, they can always be a monster. And the other arm's completely full of demons and paths of my life that I've traveled, things that have been very notable for me. Mostly all occult and horror. The bubble I like to stay in. Thank you, Ronnie. I'm glad it's the first time you watched the show. Thank you for tuning in. And it'll be about 6 months or so before we come back with another season, but we got a couple seasons in between, like I said. I'm glad to hear you guys are saying excellent show. I don't know. I feel like we talked about absolutely nothing, but that's all right. And I got
I'm glad you guys enjoyed it.
And I told Natasha I'm getting a buzz tonight. It's been a long week or two, and I just fucking cranked down like 3 or 4 pounders, so I'm feeling pretty good. So thank you guys for just chilling with us, talking, having a fun time.
I'm drinking water.
I should be, but this week is fucking bullshit. Thank you guys. I have learned quite a bit watching. I can't wait to see what comes next season. Absolutely, next season will be the big one. We really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
I saw Milo somewhere. Hi, Milo.
Yeah, I threw it up on the screen at one point.
Did you?
Yeah.
I feel like they came in like on my side. They came in like ooh, like real quick all together.
I don't know. We love you guys. We thank you guys. We'll catch you in March, the new season of Cuniculum Obscuritatis.
And make sure that you stick around for all the other episodes coming, like Knights of Nephilim and Paranormal Guys. Thank you guys so much.
Take care. Have a safe night.